Welcome to 5 Questions with LeRoy Butler, Super Bowl 45 edition.
Did you ever think we'd say that?
No. Nope.
I did.
No, you didn't.
After the Giants game, come on.
We're not talking about then. We're talking
well,
about at
after
the
the
beginning
Bears
of the season,
game.
You
It's
know?
week 17.
Neither of us predicted they'd be here.
Jermichael Finley did.
Yeah. He's not part of it.
And Barnett. Those two guys said it from
Get
day
into that
one.
later.
Yeah, that's good. You better stick around for that because we may get into a fight.
Yeah.
He's never been a player before, so how can you talk for a player?
I'm on a softball
You're a
team.
company guy.
I'm on a softball
Oh, that's
team.
true. That's
Yeah.
true. All right,
Exactly.
I take it back. I take it back.
There you go.
He's a pitcher. Okay.
All right. Well, let's get right into it. You know, we can look back at the Bears game, but that's over. You know, we don't need to talk about Jay Cutler.
We don't?
Or Rodgers. No.
We don't?
I mean,
All
you
right.
want to talk about Jay Cutler? I mean, maybe we should
Well, the Bears.
throw your 2 cents in about whether you think he deserves all the criticism.
Well, I really thought, and I'm wrong. Sometimes I admit when I'm wrong. I really thought as players we were together, but we're not. Obviously, with the tweets that went on after that attacking Jay Cutler, had Jay Cutler played, they still wasn't going to win the game. What difference does it make? But I just thought that players supposed to be united. You don't take shots at other players, especially when you one day can be in that position where you're injured and can't go back in the game. Remember LaDainian Tomlinson sitting there with a coat on, the helmet on, and people went after him. He couldn't play; his knee was messed up. But I guess they want you to be more of a rah type, help your teammates. But that's not Jay Cutler.
That's not who he is.
No, but you knew that before that game. So to attack him for something that you already knew is unfair.
Right.
And I'm only talking to the players. The fans, it's fair game. The media, it's fair game. Only I'm talking to the players.
I agree. Well, let's look ahead. Packers Steelers, 2 of the most storied organizations in all of football. We know one thing where the Steelers have an advantage, and that's that they were at a Super Bowl 2 years ago. Packers haven't been to a Super Bowl
Tell me how that's an
15
advantage.
years. Well, I'm going to ask you that.
Yeah.
Is it really an advantage? It would seem like it to me that a team that knows how to prepare, knows what the week's like, is that an advantage?
I don't think so. I think what Ted Thompson is saying is 100%. These guys are young enough that they just think about Pittsburgh. It's not about the Super Bowl and the media hype and all that. They haven't really bought into that. What they have bought into, we're playing Pittsburgh. The Super Bowl isn't this game to where I'm so nervous and the tickets and all the distraction. No, Pittsburgh. So Pittsburgh, to me, doesn't really have any advantage on the field, and that's the one that counts. Knowing when to fly in, when to eat breakfast, when to have meetings.
But let's
go back on our other schedule anyway when we won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, but that 3 days of media stuff is pretty daunting, particularly with the media day.
Tuesday.
Tuesday when both teams go to the stadium and they have interview sessions, and that's when you see all the crazy celebrities. And I think in your day it was like Marilyn Monroe or Mae West or someone like that. I think who was out there doing interviews. But
it is a lot of stuff
it
going
is.
on.
I mean, downtown Julie Brown was your era,
right?
You're
right.
Kind of tell us what that's like.
It is interesting.
Is it fun or is it overwhelming?
The guys who have their own podium, it's fun. But the guys who don't, they sit in the stands, and media kind of goes over there. You get in there, everybody from Nickelodeon to the 4-letter network to here, you got Fox, you got all these people going on.
Yeah.
Then, Tom, you have people from out of the country, and you don't speak their language, and they have an interpreter. And there was a guy from some Spanish channel, which I watched, by the way.
Telemundo.
I had no idea what to do with that. Was asking, and I felt kind of weird. But once he asked his question, he waited like, "What's your answer?" And I was like, "What did he say?"
Yeah.
And it was funny. So dealing with that is going to be for the Packers media department to let these guys know, look, this is how it goes. This is how long it lasts. You may be asked anywhere from signing a woman's bra to what size shoe your teacher wore in 3rd grade. Because
Right.
it's about storylines. They create storylines each day. It's the craziest thing you've ever seen. And I will say this, 40% of the questions had nothing to do with the Super Bowl.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. It's going to catch you off guard. I mean, so you got to just keep your composure and just hopefully it goes over. But if you're a captain of the Super Bowl, now it's a lot of pressure on you because you're really speaking for the team.
I had no idea of this, but at the Super Bowl 31, Dave Meggett had a hat cam on his
Oh,
hat.
yes, yes.
And I was asking him questions, and the next thing I know, the next day I'm like all over ESPN because he's got this hat cam.
Right.
And I was like, that was the last thing I wanted. I was so mad.
Guys
You know?
you're right. Guys do have fun with it, and they have their own cameras.
Yeah, and then the next year, or one of those years later, I've been to all the Super Bowls since '89. I bumped into the Nickelodeon kid, and I was nearly like taken off the premises. I'm trying to ask a question to my job, and the Nickelodeon kid's like elbowing me and getting me out of position.
That's funny.
So it is a crazy.
It really
play.
is, and you're right. It is a distraction, but for the most part, Jeff Blum, who I've known for years, who pretty much runs the media department, he's kind of been, what's the word I want to use? He's been preparing for this like 3-4 weeks ago, kind of, sort of, the media aspects of it, things, just things that may come up. So they're kind of ahead of the game. So hopefully it works.
Okay. Well, let's get right into the little, speaking of PR and all this, the Packers took a little bit of a PR hit by not, when Nick Burnett and Jermichael Finley got on Twitter and complained that they're not going to be in the team picture. Just so everybody knows, the way it works is you fly down on Monday. Tuesday is media day, which we were just talking about.
Right.
And then right after that, they go onto the field. Each team, after their session is over, goes on the field and takes a team picture.
Right.
Well, the Packers are not bringing the IR guys down right away. They're not bringing them until Thursday, so they're going to miss out on that team picture. Your feeling on this is that's a really bad move on the Packers' part,
Well,
correct?
because you're going to be asked about it, Tom. Each guy's going to be asked about it. And when I first heard about it, I was sad because I put the Packers organization above every organization out there. Obviously, I have I'm a little biased. But here's an opportunity to do something that is team-oriented. And to not do it when Jermichael Finley did say, we're going to the Super Bowl in training camp. Now, obviously, he played so many games and it's been out. To not include them, to me, is a little unfair because their kids, although I know you think it's small, 20 years from now, maybe asked if your dad was a part of the Super Bowl team. He said, well, yeah, he has a Super Bowl ring.
Yeah, you know what? He's going to be able to show them a huge ring.
Yeah,
I
but
mean,
you know how people are. Well, where's this picture? How do you
I
explain that?
I think the team picture, there was a team picture taken before the season started, and that is going to be, the official team picture.
No,
No,
because
the
it
Super
doesn't
Bowl
have the
picture is
Super Bowl stuff on it.
Yeah, but that's just, for the Super Bowl. It's
You
not.
sound like a company guy now.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm going to play devil's advocate because,
Well,
listen,
You've never played, so you don't know.
I understand.
I'm coming
I
from
think
player.
they should do a team picture with everybody.
There you go.
I do.
Let's do that.
I just don't think
Can we do it
the
this
setting is on Tuesday to do it.
Okay.
I don't think you should haul 18 guys who are under rehab.
Not 18.
Rehab. It is 18 guys.
Well,
18
what
IR
if
guys.
What if it's Aaron Rodgers? Would you take him?
Whatever the rules
All
are.
right.
Okay.
Well, at least you're
but
consistent.
here's my
Okay, go ahead.
reasoning is, okay, you have to bring them down, and then they're free to do whatever they want, during that time, 18 guys,
Right.
and, the other guys are under lock and key, and there's some chance for distraction, and, frankly, I'm sure that they don't want your Michael Finley down there popping off every 2 seconds, every
But
time
he
a
can do
camera
it
comes
anyway.
by. He can. I'm just saying that's a consideration. I
Okay.
do think that those guys absolutely need to be in a team photo. I think they should take one before they go down. Those guys should be in uniforms, It should be a Packer team photo. And that should be the photo, if they win the Super Bowl, they put up in their room.
Sure.
As a champion. But the whole Tuesday thing, I understand why, they don't want to screw around with 18 guys, having to, 18 guys with different rules than the other guys have, because they're not really preparing for the game.
Now, I think the resolution that you came with is fair. If they can somehow, I don't know, somehow get the Super Bowl emblems FedEx to them or UPS. Well, it doesn't matter. They can get them on the jerseys, take a picture before they leave. I'm okay. This Saturday, I'm okay with that.
Right.
But I just want to give you my 2 cents speaking from the player. When you play a game like the NFL, you're all together. You've been preaching one heartbeat. This is not one heartbeat. It's just 53. The other guys in the future are going to say, if you get hurt, you're done. Why even go on Thursday, Tom, if you're just going to just stand there? These guys, like you said, they're on the lock and key. Well, guess what? You're bringing the guys down for the weekend. So to me, you come down, you follow the rules, just like everybody else, and you got to do everything. Now, I will say this, and we'll wrap this up. If it needs to be fixed to where they can do a picture, if that doesn't happen, you're going to have some, Ryan Grant and Jim Michael, some of these guys, they're going to feel like, we weren't part of the team. Because I played with 2 guys, Robert Brooks and Kuntz, and I felt bad for those guys. Well, I had tears in my eyes. They couldn't play in that game. But we wanted to win it for them. So we'll see what happens. But I don't want to hear a lot of that one heartbeat stuff if you're not going to do it.
All right. Last little part about that. What do you think was worse, this or when Ron Wolf would not invite Desmond Howard, Andre Rison, I think there's at least one other guy or maybe 2 other guys, to the ring party you guys had, after Super Bowl, because they had left in free agency, and this was held in like May, I think, following year, and he wasn't going to invite them until, that became public. And
it's a good question.
Which is worse?
Yeah, I think the ring thing is worse.
Yeah, I think so too.
Now, if it was during the season, obviously.
Right.
In the off season, you got to fix that. And as a leader, it's kind of my fault, because I should have gone to Ron and said, this is what we need to do. And I don't know if Woodson, who's kind of the team spokesperson, went to Ted and said, look, how can we fix this?
Yeah.
Or did he say, you know what, it's out of my hands, concentrate on Pittsburgh. But it's going to be a distraction now.
Right. It's going to be asked about
all the time. So if you really want to limit the distractions, figure out a way to make it work. Because I'm going to tell you, the first question on Tuesday to Aaron Rodgers, it should be Ben Roethlisberger.
Right.
What do you think about your teammates not being here?
Yeah.
What's he going to say?
And McCarthy's going to get asked about it tomorrow.
Right.
When he comes to the podium.
So and they had to.
And Aaron Rodgers is talking today too, but he's going to have to answer it today, and then next week when the national media gets to him. So
I think what you said, because I think you are one of the smartest guys in sports. Figure out.
What's that say about sports?
No, you are smart. You know that. Figure out a way to do it before they leave. If that doesn't happen, then you just got to roll with the decision you've made and just accept the fallout.
And deal with it.
And just deal with
then you got to deal with the
just
consequences.
deal with it.
Okay, well, let's get to the game, because I think that's probably primary.
Now, people like controversy.
Yeah, that's true. They
love
more
that
than
stuff.
the game, they do.
Yeah.
So I'm glad we covered that for you.
Yeah. Because had we not, we'd have been in trouble.
Exactly. Hey, and we're not homers. I'm not a homer. You're a homer.
Well, yeah.
I'm not a homer.
No,
I'm
you're
willing
not.
to
You're
talk
not.
about.
That's why I think you're very fair.
Okay. In terms of the game, we talked about a key is going to be stopping the Steelers' running game. I mean, this is a nice running game, similar to Atlanta's, I would say. I think Atlanta might have a little better offensive line, but Pittsburgh is physical, and so is Rashard Mendenhall. What do you see as the key?
Well, if the center Pouncey, who has a high ankle sprain, doesn't play, then the advantage goes to the Packers. B.J. Rogers, I think, is playing better than any lineman in the NFL. Well, any lineman right now is still in there that the Steelers have. Him and Casey Hampton, that's going to be a great matchup, the nose tackle for the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Packers, have problems with opponents running the ball on the perimeter. When I say the perimeter, outside the tackle box. And the Steelers are the only team out of all the 3 teams they played that can put pressure on them running the ball as well as throwing the ball. And if they can stop the Steelers' running game and make them one-dimensional, they have a very good chance of winning. But I will say this. You go back to Pittsburgh a couple of years ago, Roethlisberger threw for 500 yards. Different team, though. You don't have the Josh Bells of the world at corner anymore.
True.
But you have the same makeup. So with that being said, Pittsburgh is smart. They never say die. Backed up to win the Super Bowl against Arizona. I mean, Ben Roethlisberger took them all the way down for the winning touchdown and made a throw not many guys in this league can make. So this is the best matchup, though. I really feel like it's the best matchup.
I have a feeling that the Steelers are going to come out in a lot of 2 tight ends. They're going to make the Packers play their base defense and then run towards Tramon Williams and probably that way, or else they'll go into nickel, they'll go into 3 wides and run towards Sam Shields and make those corners tackle Rashard Mendenhall.
Right.
Do you think that's a possibility?
I think that's exactly what they'll do. If the Pittsburgh Steelers, who also rely on play action, who also love to throw a bunch of different formations at you, Ben Roethlisberger, a multiple Super Bowl winner, he's been there. He understands what's going on with game plans. And to flip it a little bit, you got Don Capers and LeBeau. I mean, these two.
Great matchup,
I mean, it'd be just like me coaching you. I know you, you're my friend. We grew up together. I know what you like, but at the same time, it'll be a good matchup. But Don Capers has really 2 to 3 defenses that Pittsburgh has never seen, and vice versa. The Packers going to see some defensive scheme, but wait a minute now. We've never seen that before. But Pittsburgh ultimately wants to run the ball. And they're going to be committed. Even if they get behind, say 10-0, Pittsburgh Steelers will still run the football.
Right.
And it seemed like every team the Packers played panicked a little bit and tried to get into a spread to catch up. You got to do what you do. And I think now it's going to put a lot of pressure on the Packers. But the Packers' speed, athleticism, and youth gives Pittsburgh a problem. They haven't seen a team like they'll see this Super Bowl.
I think my personal opinion is playing inside with no, weather conditions. I think the Packers are going spread, and I think they'll rely on Chad Clifton blocking James Harrison, and they'll have to hope that Balaga holds up against Lamar Woodley. I think that's a huge matchup. I think Woodley could cause him a lot of problems. And then bet that the Steelers' corners aren't as good as their receivers, which I don't think they are. I don't think they have the depth to handle 4 or 5 wide receiver sets. I think that's going to be their advantage in this game.
Well, I went back and looked at the game when Pittsburgh played Arizona. I referenced it earlier. I looked at what Kurt Warner was able to do. He just did whatever he wanted to do. I mean, he threw in routes, out routes. I mean, they were in cover 2. There was pressure going up the middle. They had routes going all over the field. A spread offense. When you spread out a defense like that, like the Pittsburgh Steelers have, where Troy Polamalu has to play back,
Exactly.
he can't just come up.
You take him out of the game
out
and
of
make him
it.
cover.
Yep. And that's the good thing about McCarthy. He's going to throw 5 wides on first down. He's going to come in and put 2 tight ends, 1 wide receiver on 2nd and long. On 3rd and long, he may get it into a running formation just to throw Pittsburgh off. And every time Pittsburgh substitute, he'll go hurry up. The Packers, to me, are going to run some hurry-up offense. They're going to force the Steelers to keep their base out there. So, in other words, if McCarthy comes with 5 wide receivers on first down, he's going to stay in that formation until either they score, they punt, or they just feel like, you know what, let's step back, they're ready for it, let's try something else. Because as long as the nickel or dime personnel, the Steelers are out there, the Packers have the advantage.
Right.
Because Troy Polamalu has to play back. Can't come up on the line of scrimmage anymore.
Right. I think I think the whole key will be Dick LeBeau's, how he plays the hot routes.
Yes,
You know,
yes.
how, if they're gonna blitz with 5 wide receivers, they're gonna have to come with the corners. And then they're gonna stop dropping linemen back, and just like B.J. Raji, and Rodgers is gonna have to really be on his game to avoid big mistakes. Because you talked about the Arizona game, and as well as Kurt Warner played, the whole key in that game was that zone blitz he throws to James Harrison. He returns it 99 yards for a touchdown at the end of the first half.
Absolutely.
And he had dropped back just like that to take away the hot read. So that'll be a huge,
that's a good point.
huge game, huge part of the game. Overall, I think offensively, besides the running game, they got to worry about Roethlisberger, and it showed in the last meeting last year. And you're right, they're a better team now defensively with their corners, but they couldn't get the guy down.
Yeah.
And that was a huge part of that game. How do you get that guy down?
Well, Kevin Green, the linebacker coach for the Packers, not only he has more sacks than any linebacker, and should be in the Hall of Fame, by the way. He has taught his guys to not necessarily tackle Roethlisberger, but tackle the football. If he's holding the ball, you go after the ball under control, because then he'll bring it down and try to avoid you. If you go in there and just try to tackle him high, he'll just shake off of you. If you tackle him low, he can still throw the ball. You tackle his right arm and right torso. The Packers have scientifically gone through thousands and thousands of reels or films and DVDs or whatever. How do you tackle Roethlisberger? And Kevin Green has a plan. His guys are going to tackle the right side of Roethlisberger. The teams who've done that causes him to fumble, causes him to pull the ball down and accept a sack, and causes him to force an interception. So the Packers are going to make sure when the pressure is coming to Roethlisberger, he can actually see it, and then he'll try to panic. Yeah. So they're going to tackle him high and to the right side, and I think that'll be very effective.
And you think that Roethlisberger is the best quarterback they've faced maybe all year, other than, I assume, other than Brady.
Yeah.
Why
tell
do you
what,
think that?
He's been in. Tom Brady has had a dry spell to me. He's put up numbers, but they haven't won in a while. Roethlisberger wins all the time. 2 Super Bowls in 5 years. He's the dangerous quarterback in certain situations. 3rd and long. If you had to have a play, he's your guy. I mean, he's a big, smart guy, and he has some emerging young receivers, but situations, he's just great at it. And he's going to put enough pressure, on the Packers defense to where the Packers they're not going to get any dumb throws. And they saw that against Chicago. They saw that against Atlanta. They saw that against Philly. He's going to make smart, decisive throws, go through his progression, throw the check down, and just be patient. Now, the Packers are going to try to frustrate him. And I got games on tape that Roethlisberger, if he gets frustrated, you have a chance. And that's what the Jets did. The Jets did frustrate him a lot.
The second half.
Yes, and that forced him to turn the ball over twice. So it's going to be a great matchup. But to me, 2 big storylines. Don Capers, Dick LeBeau, Aaron Rodgers, first Super Bowl, or Ben Roethlisberger, 3 Super Bowls, elevates him to me over Tom Brady, because each of them have 3. Wow. They'll have 3, but Roethlisberger to me has more upside. And this guy played with a broken nose, hurt foot, a lot of distractions off the field. He missed 4 games, still got his team in the Super Bowl. Yeah. I just respect everything about him. To me, he's one of my favorite quarterbacks who won multiple Super Bowls.
Well, I respect him on the field. I don't respect him off the field.
Well, a lot of people don't respect you off the air. If I told them some stuff you did,
Yeah, not even close.
Yeah, you're probably right.
So, okay, let's go. Prediction.
Well, I really think it'll be a high-scoring game. I think both offenses are very dynamic, and I think it'll be in the 30s. It'll be one of the most entertaining Super Bowls, and I really think it's going to be like Arizona and Pittsburgh. Very high scoring. If it's a low scoring game, I think it benefits the Steelers because, you know, the Packers, to me, you know, they got all this. They haven't won, you know, 5-16 with 3 or 4 points or less. Okay, who cares about that? McCarthy has won games 7 or 8 points. He's won all those games. Why don't I see that stat? People just pick what they want to pick. So, if it's the Packers, if it's a high-scoring game, they'll win the game. And I think the Packers will win 35-17.
Wow. Okay. Big route. Then.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't see any scenario of any offense scoring 4 times on this Packer defense. They're just that good.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Great. Well, we are not going to have X's and O's today because next week in the paper and on JS Online
Yes.
we'll be going over a play a day, and you'll be able to see some of the favorite plays of both the Packers and the Steelers. So be sure you check that on JS Online. And
3 keys to victory.
3 keys to victory.
Should we expand it? You want to do like 5? Or do you want to
I don't
stick
have
to
that
3?
kind of time.
1, 2?
Yeah.
We'll do 3 keys to victory, jsonline.com. And don't forget your smartphones. Go download the app. That's just awesome. You can download the app to go right on JS Online. It's awesome.
Packer Insider, that's called.
Yeah, Packer
And
Insider, right.
So, and you have your website?
Yep. You can go to LeRoyButler36.com or SendixMarket.com as well.
All right. Well, we'll see you after the Super Bowl. Yep. We'll wrap this all up, and it's been a good run on our show here.
It's been fun.
Okay. We'll see you after the Super Bowl.